Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Carrington, and you're listening to Call Talk for March 13th, 2013. Today's topic is Benchmark Portal's new multi-channel benchmark survey. And if you're listening live, we'd like to invite you to be a part of the show and ask questions. Here's how you can do it. You can either email me at brian@benchmarkportal.com, as most people do, or if you're listening on the phone or just close to one, you can always call in and actually ask your question live. The number to call in is this, 347-857-3117. But make sure that you press the number 1 on your phone to let me know that you have a question, and I'll get you in. Also want to remind you that the first person to do that and ask a question on the phone live will receive a $1,500 benchmarking survey, compliments of Benchmark Portal. So I also want to remind you, though, if you weren't able to make it today, that we have all of our shows archived and available to listen to at Benchmark Portal any time of the day. And make sure we've got a lot of good content on there from previous shows. So let's go ahead and kick the show off, and it's my pleasure to introduce the host of Call Talk now, Bruce Belfiore.
Thank you, Brian, and welcome back to Call Talk, everyone. Today's topic, as Brian mentioned, is Benchmark Portal's new multi-channel benchmark survey. Now, the survey is now equally suited to give you a meaningful benchmarking report, whether you remain a voice-only call center, as many call centers still are, or if you're a multi-channel contact center, which handles voice, email, chat, social media, etc. We found that managers want to see how they perform in all of these areas, and now we can satisfy all of them. And to talk about this, we brought in our expert on the topic for you, John Chatterley. John is a senior consultant and director of research and analysis for Benchmark Portal. He specializes in contact center performance research, analysis, does a lot of technical writing and content editing. He's published numerous customized benchmarking reports and one-minute survey reports, as well as white papers. And John also co-authored numerous books with Dr. John Anton. So his professional career spans more than 20 years of experience in the call center management sector, and he's a Purdue certified contact center auditor, certified AT&T call center college instructor, Benchmark Portal certified benchmarking instructor and analyst, and his professional education was in electrical engineering and computer science at Southern Utah University and subsequently at the University of Utah. So, John, I think you've got more credentials and credits than Steven Spielberg. Welcome to Call Talk.
I think, Bruce, that you've told our listeners much more than they really wanted to know, but thank you.
Okay. Well, good. The main thing is that you bring an awful lot of experience to this whole business of coming up with an appropriate survey for the multi-channel world that we're working in now. But why is it important that, in fact, Benchmark Portal introduce the multi-channel survey now?
Well, Bruce, as most of our listeners probably know, call centers have evolved into contact centers over the past decade. And by that I mean they've made an effort to channel more and more of their customers to alternate points of contact, such as email, web chat, social media, and so on. And they've done it for the following reasons: first, to expand their hours of service; also to offer a broader and easier access for smartphone users. Another important reason that they've done this is to reduce live agent staffing by using lower-cost contact channels. And finally, to lower the average cost per contact. So to enable us to more completely and fairly benchmark these centers, we've expanded our survey to capture the key performance indicators of each of the alternate channels.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, John. Really, what people want now is also in line with helping companies save money to a certain extent. So, in fact, when you mentioned that companies are trying to move people toward these alternate channels, such as email or chat, social, etc., that is also what a lot of the customers want to do. And one of the things that we've always said at BenchmarkPortal is you need to have kind of seamless quality across all channels, across all contact, and that way the consumer can really, or the customer can choose whichever channel they want and get really good service that way. And by, offering really good service on a lower cost channel, you can kind of move people over there and keep their satisfaction high as well. So
yes, that's very true. That's very true.
Yeah. So if you could explain to us what's included in the multi-channel survey and who should be participating and how that all works.
Okay. Well, the multi-channel survey now captures the KPIs and other important metrics for IVR, for voice, for email, web chat, social media, and even fax and postal mail channels, and also even captures time spent on contact-related activities within the center. And in every contact center, whether single channel or any combination of these channels I just mentioned, will be able to benefit by entering their metric information by the survey, and we will be producing a comprehensive report to show how they compare with other centers in their industry sector. And it's important to realize, Bruce, that although some centers have been slowly migrating to these other channels, knowing how to measure and properly evaluate those channels has been difficult for them. But with this new multi-channel survey, that's going to be made crystal clear and much easier.
Right. Okay. We're really helping them, giving them a management tool that takes some of the methodologies and approaches that we've used toward metrics in the voice channel and utilize them profitably and usefully in these other channels that are newer and for which the world, let's face it, has fewer databases, if you will, and less experience. But they're extremely important, and we have to integrate them into the overall view of how a contact center, a modern contact center, is performing. So
exactly.
Great. Well, Well, could you explain a little bit about the new design? The survey is interactive to make it easier to complete. Could you tell us about how that looks?
Sure. Well, Bruce, our foremost goal of our new multi-channel survey design was to make it intuitive and straightforward for anybody taking the survey. The survey is implemented as a smart form PDF survey and includes pop-up help windows to answer questions and provide definitions, as well as built-in cross-checking to flag entry errors as they're filling out the survey. And then another feature of this interactive PDF survey is the ability to auto-populate some answers based on other answers that are provided earlier in the survey. So it's really been designed to make it straightforward, simple, and not at all challenging to fill out.
Okay, yeah, the easier the better, and the clearer the better. And I think what you're talking about, which is a combination of leveraging technology to auto-populate, to make sure that there's as much information available as possible, and also the cross-checking part, because people want to know that it's good data, and that's something we've always been sticklers for at BenchmarkPortal, to allow our systems to cross-check the data to make sure that it makes sense, and then we get back to people if there's something that doesn't make sense, so that we get a nice squeaky clean database. So very, very important stuff there. Thank you, John. Well, when will the first surveys be going out?
Well, the first surveys are already going out. In fact, just for this show, I received another completed survey. So people are already starting to fill them out and send them back to us. So initially, for this, we're going to be collecting survey data and try to build up the database on the alternate channels for the next couple of 3 months, so that we have a a rich database to begin benchmarking with. Initially, we'll roll up the data for this new survey and for the new alternate channels into industry averages that we will be able to benchmark the survey takers with. And as time goes on, we'll be able to grow the database and publish industry-specific averages.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me see if I can explain that. It probably, is worth explaining again exactly how this is going to work. Right now we have this very large, robust database for the voice channel, and that continues, and that is totally integrated into the new multi-channel survey, and will be totally integrated into the reports. We have a period of time from now until, say, the July or so time frame in which we will be gathering the information from the additional metrics that have to do with the multi-channel, but we'll be building up the database during that period of time. So we encourage all of our community members to take the multi-channel survey now, to include their multi-channel metrics. And so in the period between now and, say, the July timeframe, more or less, we'll be turning back the kind of report that we have been turning back in the past, which is our in-depth reality check or reality check. And then once we have a sufficient database so that we can turn back a report that includes the new multi-channel questions, we will do that. And so they will get a second report, and that way they'll, get two reports instead of just one. And the first, at first, as you said, John, the multi-channel questions will be on a entire database basis, and then as time goes on, we'll break that down by industry as we get more and more data. So hopefully, did I explain that fairly clearly, John? Does that sound like our listeners have understood?
I understand it. I understood it, Bruce, but I helped design it. If our callers didn't understand it, I hope they'll speak up. But I think you did a pretty good job, Bruce.
Okay, good.
I was going to say, I could add, just so people, as they're listening to this later than our live show that we're doing right now, just to put the date on it, the dates we're talking about are July of 2013. So if by chance you're listening to this as an archive show in 2014, well, this has all been taken care of, and the multi-channel report is the report, period. I hope that clarified too.
Perfect. Thanks for adding that. That's great. And if anybody has any questions on it, just get in touch with us. We're very happy to answer questions. So, John, how does the multi-channel survey impact certification? Does a company certify any channel, or do they have to qualify in all channels? How's that going to work?
Good question, and I'm glad you asked it, because I'm sure that's a question in the mind of many of our listeners. So through the remainder of this calendar year, our plan is to continue to certify centers as inbound centers in the same way as we've done in the past. But by collecting the additional metrics from other channels, we will be able to determine the impact that the other channels have on a center's overall performance and calibrate their centers for purposes of certification beginning with 2014. And we'll be able to accurately measure and report their performance for all channels, which will bring more insight into for managers into how they can best balance and distribute their resources to handle the contact volume in the most efficient and effective ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that is key. I mean, think about the new world of multi-channel. An agent may, in part, be working the voice channel. They may also be doing email, and they may also be doing social, and and perhaps even be doing some postal mail and fax work. And all of that needs to be acknowledged. All of that needs to be recognized in terms of figuring out how efficient the center is running. So a lot of exciting things have come out of this new survey, and we think that people are going to be very, very happy with it. Okay, great. Let's see. I think we've got some questions in. So let me hand it over to Brian at this point to ask those on behalf of our listeners.
You got it. Yeah, we do have a couple questions that have come in via email so far, and so I'll address this to you guys, and maybe in particular John now. For a lot of people that know Benchmark Portal already, we have an IDRC, or an in-depth reality check benchmark report that's been our report to use. So this one, though, obviously John is familiar with this. His question is, will the reports resemble the IDRC reports that he's gotten in the past?
Good question. From your listener, Brian, and I'm glad he asked the question. The answer is yes. It will resemble the IDRC reports as we produced them in the past, but it'll be even better because it'll have additional content that shows the centers, their center's performance alongside the industry averages for all of the added contact channels, the KPIs for all of these added contact channels. And it will also show their performance matrix positioning for each of those channels. So for example, the report will show an overall performance matrix position for the center based on the channels that they're serving, but then it'll be broken down to show which of those channels are performing the best. So I think it's going to be a much richer and more useful report than even what we published up to this point.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, good. Thanks for that question, John. That was a good one. And this is kind of in line with what we would consider a reality check here, just our own terminology, which is kind of a shorter version of the IDRC. So Scott asked this question about our new multi-channel. Is there a shorter version for us to use?
Yes, there's a shorter 16 KPI version. The full version includes has grown from 22 to 40 KPIs, and the shorter version has grown from 12 to 16 KPIs, and it's available to download and submit, and it's free. Anybody can do that, and they'll get a free report. In fact, as I mentioned, it's already available for download, and I've already received some reports coming in. So yes, there is a shorter version available that does capture some KPIs for the additional channels.
Okay, good. And John is mentioning that the shorter version of the 16 KPI report, you can download the questionnaire and then submit your data. And one of my favorite things about that is where one of our auditors will then go over the report with the client and highlight what they're doing really well, and also highlight some areas that maybe show some opportunity for improvements. So that's another part of that free service. So the short version, that's pretty neat thing. One last question from Marianne, and this kind of talks about, you just mentioned, John, you can download the questionnaire online, but can she actually take the survey online?
Well, we've constructed it so technically the survey can be taken online, but we have come to feel that it's more advisable for them to download the survey, since it's a smart form in PDF format. It's easier for them to fill out. They don't have the pressure of trying to finish it in one online session. They can fill it out as their time allows them to, and if they need to go refer to some of their reports to get some of the information, it's more relaxing for them to be able to do that. So what we recommend is that they download the survey, fill it out as they can, and then send it back into us. And once it comes in, it's designed so it can be automatically uploaded into the database and then validated. So that's the way we'd like to encourage people to do it.
Okay, great. Bruce, is there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I did. I was thinking about the position of a lot of our listeners. So they're managers of call centers, and they think about sitting down and receiving all of the information they need to understand how they're doing in the various channels that they are working in a seamless manner, if you will. And it's a very powerful thing, very powerful tool for them. Now, some of the people are still totally or dominantly voice channel, and that's great. This new multi-channel survey is fine for you as well. You just won't be answering certain of the questions. No problem at all. But for those who have made the transition or are considering making the transition to multi-channel, and you have this new world of email, chat, and social, etc., you will have the same kind of metrics information that allows you to see how you're doing. And that's both very useful, it can be comforting, it can also be a challenge. Because it could be, for instance, that you're extremely advanced when it comes to your voice channel, but you have some things that you can improve on something you're newer to, the social side, for example, or perhaps email or chat. And that's very valuable information. In other words, in a world in which you're expected to juggle schedules and juggle content and juggle all kinds of training for these various channels and all that sort of thing, being able to rely on a really good benchmark analysis that gives you information on all of these channels is what we are aiming to do, and hoping to give really, really strong a strong management tool to the managers for our sector. So I just wanted to add that. John, I don't know if you'd like to add something to that.
Well, I think you captured the intent that we have very well, Bruce. And I just want to add to that not only can we provide them this information as they in the report that they get following the completion of the survey, but we have a very extensive resource of benchmarking consultants that they can also tap into as they need to or feel they'd like to get help and more insight in how to best distribute their resources across these channels.
Yeah, that's a key point, and I think Brian mentioned that as well. The fact that we provide expert input for anybody who takes the short form or the reality check form of the multi-channel survey. You'll get 3/4 of an hour in a WebEx-style format with one of our experts going through and just talking about it, explaining where you're strong, where you need some work, and where you might be able to get better. And by doing this, we're fulfilling our mandate, which is to help call center managers become more efficient and more effective. So we're really excited about this, Brian. A lot of our experts have already put in a lot of their best insights into this multi-channel survey, and we're very, very excited about it. Any other questions, Brian? Or
no, that's it for now. Unless I do see we have some callers in from Ohio and looks like Virginia as well. If you guys would like to ask a question live, I'd invite you to do so by pressing the 1 on your phone, and we can get you in. But otherwise, I think from my perspective, it sounds like you guys have covered just about everything at this point.
Okay, very good. Well, I'd like to thank John for his presence on the show today, and also all the great work that he and other colleagues, David Rye and others at BenchmarkPortal, have done for this, Dee Buell. And so, thank you very much, John, for being on the show and for explaining to our listeners what this multi-channel benchmarking survey is all about.
Well, it's been my pleasure, Bruce, and I want to thank the listeners for tuning in and hearing about it. So thanks to them as well.
All right. Well, I want to thank both of you guys for introducing us to Benchmark Portal's new multi-channel benchmark survey and report today. As our industry continues to evolve and change, that's exactly what benchmarking is doing, and that's the effort behind our new multi-channel benchmark survey and report. So I want to make sure that you also then join us next time for Call Talk. That is April 17th, 2013, when we'll talk about coaching agents, a very important topic in the call center arena for sure. So also, don't forget to go to our website and download a free 16 KPI multi-channel benchmark survey. And take that, send it back to us, and ultimately you'll get a report to see how your call center compares to others in your industry. And that's at BenchmarkPortal.com. So from all of us at Benchmark Portal, keep those headsets steady and your fingers ready. This is Brian Carrington signing out. Have a great day. That's a wrap. Have a good one. And that's a wrap. Take care, everybody. Bye now. I think the show is still going.